Good evening. I'm going to talk today about an individual I decided to discuss on the movement. So, the getting to know what happened during the movement helps a little bit with understanding the individuals and the events that took place. So, I'm going to start with that. The fundamentalist modernist controversy was a theological controversy that started after World War One, and people started to divide. Some were trying to get the new knowledge with the old faith. They didn't want any. Some didn't want any new knowledge. Some wanted to stick with just their old faith, and began to form a divide in the church and Christianity in itself. The individual that I decided to speak about was Baptist leader and minister Harry Emerson Fosdick. He was one of the nation's best known speakers. He was educated at Colgate University and Union Seminary, and on May 22nd, 1922, as he was preacher at New York City's First Presbyterian Church, he delivered a sermon called "Shall the Fundamentalist Win?" This sermon was distributed out the country to 130,000 ordained Protestants, and the sermon called for an open-minded, intellectual, and tolerant Christians to come forward. The sermon cost him his job at New York First Presbyterian, but in turn, Riverside Church was built just for Fosdick to minister at by John D. Rockefeller. Fosdick also wrote for many magazines, newspapers, and various items throughout the time. He once said that he would rather live in a world where his life was surrounded by mystery than live in a world so small that his mind could comprehend it. He believed that there should be new knowledge welcomed into the old faith. Times changed, and people had to be willing to accept this change and embrace the change. He also thought that anything that was worth it was going to be difficult, and that is why he made the quote that life is surrounded by mystery. He would rather live in a world where this was true than to live in a world where he could comprehend everything. What fun would it be if you were to understand everything that was going on around you? Fosdick also once said, "He who chooses the beginning of the road chooses the place it leads to. It is the means that determines the ends." So, in this, he's saying that depending on where you decide to go, when you start on that journey, you are deciding where you end on that journey. It is the starting point that gets you to where you need to be. Fosdick became very well known during this time period following World War One and during the controversy that occurred within the church, and he stood up against things that he felt were right but weren't always welcomed by other people. Hence why he was fired from his job as at New York's First Presbyterian Church. He's extremely well known man in Christianity and in modern time Christianity, and it is sad that his views and his beliefs cost him a job. Now in turn he was successful, and Rockefeller did build the Riverside Church for him to minister at, but at a time where the nation needed to come together, instead the nation was dividing and coming apart. Following World War II was a drastic time between World War II and World War One, and the Great Depression was occurring, and instead of everybody coming together, there was just a divide built within this controversy and religion that was at the basis for most people's society and life.